My sister talks to a man through her bedroom wall. Our neighbor moved out 6 months ago. Ever since we moved in, my sister started whispering to the wall. It was just after our neighbor, Mr. Kepler, packed up and left. Emma was 7, shy, and didn't have many friends at her new school. We figured the talking was some imaginary friend thing, a harmless way of adjusting. She'd lean against the drywall, press her lips close, and mumble. At night, she'd fall asleep facing it, like she was waiting for a response. We didn't think much of it until she said his name. He says his name is Mr. Kepler, she told us over breakfast. My dad laughed. That's the guy who just moved out. Maybe she heard us talk, but Emma shook her head. No, he lives in the wall now. I thought she was joking until I realized she was serious. That night, I stood outside her door and listened. She whispered things like, I drew that picture you asked for. And no, he doesn't know. I promise. When I asked her about it the next day, she got quiet. Then said, he says you shouldn't be listening. It was weird. But what really got to me was the drawing. It was taped to the wall behind her bed, a childlike sketch of her sleeping, except it was drawn from above, like someone was watching her from the ceiling. The perspective didn't make sense. My parents shrugged it off. Kids are weird, they said. But the next week, her behavior changed. She started waking up at random times. She'd ask if her curtains were supposed to move at night. One morning, she asked why there was tapping on her window if we lived on the second floor. I checked her room. No branches, no loose blinds, no marks on the glass. That night, I stayed up with her. We both sat in bed, lights off, watching the wall. At exactly midnight, she whispered, he's here. I leaned in. Silence. Then, barely audible, something scratched the other side. A slow, deliberate drag of fingernails across wood. Not drywall, not insulation. It sounded too close. I bolted outside and went to the vacant unit next door. The lockbox was still on the door. The windows were covered in grime. No lights, no movement. But in the dirt along the side of the house, right beneath Emma's bedroom window, I found footprints. Small one, like from a child. And a second pair. Barefoot, larger, deeper. They led to the back fence. That night, I pushed her bed away from the wall and made her sleep in my room. She didn't fight it. The next morning, she told me something that made my skin crawl. He said he used to live here before the man with the glasses. He said he used to have a daughter just like me, but she screamed too much. We called the police. Told them someone might be watching the house. They did a check. Said the unit next door had no signs of forced entry, but I kept looking. 3 nights later, I was in the garage when I found it. An old, bricked-up vent shaft behind a shelving unit. Sealed, but not professional. Inside was a narrow crawl space running between the wall. It was dusty, lined with old insulation, and just wide enough for a grown man to slither through. There were crayon drawing, a small doll, and a pair of glasses. Round, thin, just like Mr. Kepler's, except these were buried under a stack of photos. All of Emma, sleeping, drawing, changing. Photos that could only have been taken from inside her room. One of them had a note scribbled in red. She doesn't scream. I ran upstairs, but Emma was already gone. The window was open. No footprints, no sound, just a note left on her pillow in shaky, childlike handwriting. He says I'm better than the first one.